So folks, after listening to the song, you might want to follow along. In the description box, I'll put the lyrics to this song just so that you can follow along with it, because it was quite a task for me to try to figure out what Josh was saying. But anyway, just for ease of listening for you, they're down below. What's up, everybody? Welcome to the channel Rockin' the Country. I'm Don. I'm smiling because this is the first official video that I've done with Rockin' the Country Owl over here that Brenda Lynn Allen sent me. So Brenda Lynn, shout out to you again. Okay, so you saw the thread title. I am doing a gift request that Matt Galardo made to the channel for me to react to Josh Ritter's song, Thin Blue Flame. And you guys are enjoying seeing me, some of you anyway, are enjoying seeing me try to figure out what Josh is saying, where he's going, what the common thread is, and picking up on different points that he's making. But Matt, also thank you for the donation as well. Not just for the donation, but for your thoughtfulness in this one, because the suggested donation to the channel is $25 for each song. But Matt sent a little bit extra because he's like, Don, this is a much longer song. So I'm like, well, that was really thoughtful. Thank you for that. So let's see what Josh has. Thin Blue Flame. Oh, I'm wearing blue. Check it out. Yeah. Okay, here we go. Thin Blue Flame. Is that like a pilot light?
I became a thin blue flame, polished on a mountain range,
Polished, huh?
and over hills and fields I flew, wrapped up in a royal blue. I flew over Royal City last night, bullfighting the horns of a new moonlight. Caesar's ghost, I saw the wartime tides. The Prince of Denmark's father still and quiet. The whole world was looking to get drowned. Trees were a fist shaking themselves at the clouds. I looked over curtains, oh it's then that I knew that only a full house gonna make it through. I became a thin blue wire that held the world above the fire, and so it was I saw behind. Heaven's just a thin blue line. If God's up there, he's in a cold dark room. The heavenly hosts are just the cold dark moons. He bent down and made the world in 7 days, and ever since he's been walking away, mixing with nitrogen and lonely holes.
A lot of people feel that way too, and it's understandable. I mean, I feel that way about God walking away, and because people who've been beaten down, or I know, of course, people who've lost children, and it's like, if God's in control and he made us and he's love and all powerful, where was the mercy in that? And so I'm not advocating one position or another, but I understand it. I understand people who would feel that way. So yeah, all right, we're gonna see where this goes. One of the things he said, the lyrics was like the fists on the trees turn themselves to fists, and I guess like we're shaking their fist at the sky. So, all right, let's see if this is just about a forsaken world, or the perspective of someone who says God has forsaken the world.
When neither seraphim or raindrops go, I see an old man wandering the halls alone, but only a full house gonna make a home. And I became a thin blue stream smoke between the sleeping dreams. And in that clear blue undertow, saw Royal City far below, border soft with refugees, streets swimming with amputees. It's a Bible or a bullet they put over your heart. It's getting harder and harder to tell them apart. The days are nights and the nights are long. Beating hearts blossom into walking bombs. And those still looking in the clear blue sky for a sign get missiles from so high they might as well be divine. And now the dogs are howling at your door, singing about vengeance like it's the joy of the Lord. Bringing justice to the enemies, not the other way round. They're guilty were killed and they're killed where they're found. If what's loosed on earth will be loosed up on high, it's a hell of a heaven we must go to when we die. Or even Laurel begs hearty for vengeance, please. The fat man's crying on his hands and his knees. Back in the peacetime he caught roses on the stage. Now he twists indecision, takes bourbon for rage. Lead pellets, pepper, and aluminum. Halcyon, laudanum, and opium. Sings kiss thee hearty, this poison cup. His wine and sheet is busy winding up.
I'm going to have to put the lyrics in the description box below. I don't have them, but I'm fine with that. Sometimes I like figuring it out, put it that way, even in the absence of either clear diction or being able to make out the lyrics. But I wonder if this is going to go in the direction sort of like of War Pigs, Black Sabbath song War Pigs, which was just about the comeuppance of the evil. Or I hear shades of like Animals by Pink Floyd in here too, thematically, that the dogs, you know, what the dogs, pigs, and based on Animal Farm, George Orwell's Animal Farm, and what the pigs represent, what the dogs represent, what the sheep represent. I wonder, but why things are thin blue flame, thin blue stream. I think he said thin blue wire too, in the middle of those two.
In darkness he looks for the lights that have died. You need faith for the same reasons that it's so hard to find. And this whole thing is headed for a terrible wreck. And like a tragedy, that's what we expect.
It's got a slow march feel to it. This is the angst of humanity.
And now I make plans for a city laid down, the hips of a girl on the spring-covered ground, spirals and capitals and the twists of a script, streets named for heroes that could almost exist, fruit trees from Eden in the gardens that seem flow like the smoke from a lithium dream. Cedar trees growing in the cool of the squares, young women walking in the portals of prayer, the future glass buildings in the past in a dress, the weddings in pollen and the wine bottomless, and all wrongs forgotten and all vengeance made right, the suffering verbs put to sleep in the night, the future descending like a bright chandelier, the world just beginning and the guests a good cheer. In Royal City I fell into a trance, 'cause it's hell to believe there ain't a hell of a chance.
I'm going to say too, I don't even see this as a stream of consciousness thing. There's something else going on I'm trying to identify as best I can from within my own psyche what was going on in the songwriter, presumably Josh's psyche, as he was connecting the dots. Because there are dots being connected here. I see some of them and even form some into lines, but even that, well, the one line, heaven, it's a hell of a place is heaven, and God's away in a cold dark room because there's so much bad going on down here. Let's see how the final part of the song gets resolved, if it does. Might be an ongoing saga of angst and anger.
I woke beneath the clear blue sky.
Right.
The sun has shot the breeze aside. The old hometown and the streets I knew. Wrapped up in a royal blue. I heard my friends laughing out across the fields. Girls in the gloaming and the birds in the wheel. The raw smell of horses and the warm smell of hay. Cicadas electric in the heat of the day. A run of three sisters in the flush of the land. And the lake was a diamond in the valley's hand. The straight of the highway and the scattered out hearts. They were coming together, they were pulling apart. And angels everywhere were in my midst. And the ones that I loved and the ones that I kissed. I wondered what it was I've been looking for above. Heaven so big there ain't no need to look up. So I stopped looking for royal cities in the air. Only a full house gonna have a prayer.
That struck me. You know how you have like movies that are coming of age movies, like The Breakfast Club for those of you who are like my age, uh, Ferris Bueller's Day Off, things like this, but Weird Science. But this is sort of like a spiritual coming of age, the way I perceived the various thoughts in here, because at first it was almost like an adolescent's perspective. Once you can formulate enough thoughts that are hardcore where you stick, later teen years, early 20s, where you, not adolescent, but you formulate very hardcore thoughts. Why is the world so screwed up? I went through this. There are so many religions out there. And then you blame God for it because what's been put out there is that God's all powerful, God is love, God created everything. Why isn't he making things better? Why are things so broken down? Why are families broken? Why is there pain? And then in this one, he cited like there was an old man walking alone, but only a house full of people is a home. So the guy is essentially homeless, even if the old man is living in a house. It's not a home. So this is a very inhospitable place to live. That part I get, because I've said that many times on the channel. Regardless of faith, regardless of occupation, wealth, anything, it is a very difficult place in which to live, because we eventually die, and whatever that means. And this is we have to die to find out if our particular faith or lack thereof was right. But then in the end, it was sort of like, I'm not going to continue looking above. I don't really need to. The sense I got was that we've got to take care of our own right here on earth to make this place better. Stop looking elsewhere when, in a sense, it's up to you to make a house a home, to take care of people. But there were so many thoughts in there that would not have emanated from my mind, and normally I can elicit meaning, and I elicited some meaning, but Josh is so different in his presentation of thoughts that there's not necessarily an identifiable nexus between thoughts. And so that's why I say it may not even be like a stream of consciousness, because in stream of consciousness, so to speak, there usually is a fluidity to thought that others could elicit more meaning from, more common meaning. But if you live in a world of linguistic genius or ideological otherworldliness, it can be difficult for the rest of us, so to speak, to identify the meaning. But that's kind of the thought that I saw in this thing, that this place is brutal. We blame it on God. Some do, for not fixing it. But then it's really up to us. But the part about the trees shaking their fists up basically at the heavens is like the earth itself is groaning. He studied the biblical text, this much I know. And I mean, he's read them. Maybe his literature, maybe believed them at one point, maybe still does. His songs don't really give that. But he knows a number of what they say, a lot of what they say, because he references them a lot or quotes them. But in his various songs. But here it does seem to be, okay, blame some otherworldly being for things being really screwed up, but then let's just sort of take matters into our own hands, and maybe that's the point of it all anyway, is to take care of each other better. And in the end of the song, you seem to have come around to that. The instrumentation almost belonged in a concert hall, and I wouldn't classify this as country per se. I would more go in the direction of folk, but even a different branch of folk. So, yeah, Matt, I'm not going to rate that, only because I don't fully understand, not with one listen. Okay, so Matt, thank you again. That was a challenge, as all of Josh's songs are, some more so than others. This was one of them, not merely due to the length, but due to the presentation of thoughts that he put in there. They're like all these dots on the landscape, and you try to figure it out. But the song seemed to have been done in thirds, and I think it was represented by the thin blue flame, having I think it had three different incarnations. It was a thin blue flame, a thin blue wire, a thin blue stream, I think was the other one. I think those were the three thin blues. And so how that bears on the meaning of the song, I'm not sure, but I'm going to leave it at that for now with my thin blue shirt on. That's the fourth quadrant. Okay, guys, you can leave your comments on that one. And thank you again, Matt, for the gift. That was very kind and thoughtful.